Live from beautiful Ohio, it's the OK Boomer podcast, featuring siblings, the real Jean and Laura.
Hello, hello. I'm Jean.
And I am Laura. And we're here to encourage all you boomers, millennials, and everyone to be happily okay. All
Right now.
Yes, right this moment. Are you happily okay?
I am. And just in case you're not feeling totally happy, I have a couple funny things to share with you.
Oh, God.
I read this on Twitter. I thought it was kind of funny.
Okay.
So I read it on Twitter.
Yep.
This is what they wrote. My husband just told me a story from 30 years ago. My mind went, oh, yeah, the 1970s. But he meant 1992, and now I need to lie down. But yeah. It's true. When I hear the 90s, I think that was 5 years ago.
Yeah. Well, it's really funny you bring this up, and we did not plan this out. But last night, the OH and I were watching, do you remember the Poseidon Adventure?
Yes.
It came out in 1978. I think a more recent one came out that our millennial friends may have watched. But the original one came out in 1978. I love this movie. I could see it every time. It fascinates me how they exit when the whole boat's upside down. So at the end of it, my OH looked at me and he said a similar type thing. He said, wow, they had pretty good, graphics on, not graphics, but the effects for a movie that came out 40 years ago. And I thought,
40.
It came out in the 70s. So there again, sadly, we're almost 50 years ago.
From all these great memories.
Yes, which is terrifying because I remember going to the movie theater, one of the first movies I saw, and that was almost 50 years ago. Yikes!
And there has to be a morning after, though, doesn't there?
Yes, there has to be a morning after, which is right. It's good. It's all good. We have our beautiful mornings. So there you go.
So then, to continue on this, there's lots of us thinking this. So I read you the first tweet. You had a very similar experience. Another tweet that was replying said, I'm right there with you. I mentioned that my 30th reunion will be this summer. My mom corrected me. 40th reunion. So 20 years just goes by in a flash for us.
In a flash. And I remember a high school philosophy teacher telling me, the old famous, the older you get, the faster it goes, but so true. So there you go. Gen Zers and millennials just truly soak up every day because it flies by on little wings.
It's fun, but it does fly by.
It does.
So here we are in 2022, apparently, and I have a new app for you to think about. Not from 40 years ago or 30 years ago. Here's a new app for us that we might really like.
Okay.
It's called Locket.
Locket, not like a necklace.
Yes, Locket. And what I liked about it, I have not tried it out, but what sounds appealing to me is it creates like a widget, I would say, on your home screen. And people who have signed up with you, like I could sign up with you, anytime you wanted to send me a cute grandkid picture, which I love to get, you could send it directly to my home screen. So it's not in a message. It's not on a social media app. It would appear right on my home screen, a darling picture.
Of course, it would be a darling picture of one of my grandchildren.
Yes.
I have to do this because my daughter, she's still on the dark side.
Yeah.
She has an Android and I have an Apple, and I can only text maybe one photo. It just doesn't work real well. This is good to know. Oh, you're so informative.
So let's see if we can try it out, and we'll report back next time.
Yes, we will, because we are informative. Yes.
Speaking of something else, this isn't, I'm digressing slightly, but I hope you don't mind. But talking about new modern things,
Yes.
I discovered another website I believe it was yesterday. I was thinking about dresses because that's all we've been thinking about.
Oh, yeah.
And we love to look at all the dress sites and try on dresses. And I had fun watching you try on all your dresses yesterday or the other day. So it just popped into my mind. I was nowhere near, this is important, Laura. This is an important part of the story. I was nowhere near social media when this thought came into my head.
I'm with you.
Nowhere near social media. I'm just sitting by myself with the dog. I think to myself,
yeah,
are there any dressmakers? And we joked about going to the modiste. Is there still a modiste? Are there still dressmakers who will make a dress that custom fits you?
Good question. And you were nowhere near social media.
This is very important. So within the next hour or so, I do go on social media. Yes. The first ad on Facebook that I see is about custom clothes for women.
No. And you were nowhere. It's almost like your little brain waves went flying through the air, through the rooms, and jumped into your social media.
Yes, because sometimes you get it. Like you go and you look up Yeti products and then you see all Yeti ads. But I didn't look it up. So
that's kind of crazy.
It was a fun site. We'll have to try it. Apparently you can, of course, send them all your measurements and get it totally customized to you. Or you can buy a standard size, but you're still able to change the neckline, the sleeves, or the length, which makes a difference in the dresses. They give examples.
It so does. I'm trying to find the old mother of the bride dress.
Yes.
And it's hard. Like the one I really like, but I've got short, stumpy legs, so it needs to be shortened. Another one
you don't have that.
Some people have been so kind. The mother of the groom, she has been just so sweet and so kind and makes me feel so good about myself and all the dresses. So I thank her for that. But I did have one person, actually a younger person, looking at them said, well, this one that needs to be on somebody younger. I was like, oh
dear.
Thanks so much.
But anyway, you have to tell her it's only the 1980s.
Hey, I am still young, right? We're in 1982.
Right. What are you talking about? Yes. But we'll have to look at it again. I thought it'd be fun almost to get all the girls together and we could plan our dresses.
We could, using a modiste online. I like it. We are with the current times. Well, anyway, speaking of old. I've actually, did we talk about this last time that the big thing now is granny flats?
No, what's that?
There's now a thing called granny flats. So people are looking around and like Gen Xers are looking for houses that will have a place for their grandmother in case she needs to like watch their kids or just move in with them. They don't want them in the house, but they are now looking to see, does this home have a granny flat? So that's a buzzword right now. And it's like a little tiny 1-bedroom studio on your property, but not in your house.
Well, isn't that what we would love to go live in? I just couldn't imagine it.
Right. And I'm thinking, great, you get the whole big house and we'll stick grandma out in the granny.
Yeah.
Something fun to look forward to.
Why don't I just pitch a tent?
There you go.
Yeah.
Probably cheaper.
Yeah.
Anyway. But we are still young. However, I had an embarrassing moment. Not that I ever have embarrassing moments.
No. You haven't had many calamities, though, lately.
No, I've gotten a much better handle on my calamities. This is slightly embarrassing. Not terrible, just a tiny skosh. I was at the mall and probably returning one of these dresses that I can't decide on. Slipped into Sephora, which is always fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been looking at wrinkle creams that supposedly instantly freeze your little lines and you look great. Okay, you're
Wow.
with me. You're with me.
Sort of, barely, but yes.
Okay, so in Sephora, you can try things on, test products. So I tried on Thomas Roth Wrinkle Cream Instant Fix. I said, this is for me. I put it on, tapped it in, and I thought when I looked in the mirror, I mean, I put it all over my forehead, around my mouth, around my eyes, quite a few places, because I just wanted to instantly look young. Feeling confident, I
Mm-hmm.
went and I checked out and I asked her if I should buy this fabulous wrinkle cream or another one, and she recommended another one. She said
Mm-hmm.
she'd heard bad things about the one I had just put on my face.
Mm.
But I said, okay, and I think I didn't end up buying any of them. Okay, but she was so sweet and said, but you look great. You don't need wrinkles. And I'm thinking, well, it's because I have this great instant fix on my face. So now I'm feeling pretty plumped up and confident, as she told me, a young millennial told me I look good. So
Yes.
I walked around, and lo and behold, I am in this is maybe 10 minutes later. I'm in the mall and I happen to run into somebody I haven't seen in years. And they're looking at me kind of quizzically, but I just found out I look great from the Sephora girl. So I'm feeling good and happy. I move on. I end up buying something else. The cashier's kind of looking at me, but I'm
Uh-oh.
still feeling like, hey, I look young right now. Maybe that's why they're so surprised. She looks so good. Move on. Of course, I always have to go to the bathroom before I go home. Stepped into the bathroom, looked at my face in horror,
Screamed.
pretty much screamed and yelped because I realized all this fabulous instant fix cream had just dried a horrible pasty white all over my face. I couldn't have looked more silly. Very embarrassing.
But it didn't feel funny. You
No,
couldn't
it
tell until you.
felt great until I looked at how it had dried. And it really looked ridiculous. So I had to wash my face in the bathroom. Oh dear. Yeah. At least the OH never saw it.
Oh Lord, that's a good one. You haven't
Yeah.
had that happen for a while. That is a good one.
No. That's
That's
where using the crying filter on Snapchat or Instagram would have come in handy, because I did feel like crying. You ever do that?
no.
I think it's Instagram, Snapchat. You can put your face into a crying filter. Why we think this is fun as a society, I don't know. But it turns everybody's nice, happy faces to where they're just crying. It's
And that's
odd.
what you.
Yeah. I don't know. That's today's
Oh,
world. We want to see what we look like crying. So, anyway, that
I'll
was.
think about that. Quick dial back because we were just talking about granny flats.
Yes.
Along the same line, have you seen that wages for babysitters have gone just incredibly high?
Well, I'm guessing they've gone high. I don't know how high, because so far I don't need a babysitter for myself.
But and I think these are for like full-time carers. These are
No,
for
this is
babysitters. Like when I started off babysitting, I made 50 cents an hour.
There you go, and we're happy. I think I was up to 75.
Yes, and that was if you were there an hour and a half. I mean, I got $1.25. This was
Yeah, you were thrilled.
right.
Yes. Okay.
No
Do
more
tell.
than 50 cents an hour. Pay. All right. Now I'm reading. Now, I don't think this would all be applicable to Ohio. I'm hoping our wages wouldn't be quite that high. Between $15 and $25 easily an hour.
An hour?
Plus Netflix or something, streaming, access to nice TVs and streaming, plus meals delivered while you're there. Yeah.
You're kidding. Like a babysitter gets about $20 an hour, and they make sure she has Netflix or and you get
Yes.
a nice meal DoorDash to you.
Yes, whatever perks that they could come up with. Babysitters are in
Wow.
high demand. So I'm not going to go
Wow.
live in a granny flat. I'm going to stay in my nice house and make $25 an hour.
Seriously, this could be a new career for me. Huh.
Yes. And you're good at it.
Yeah, I come with experience. I could put that on my resume.
I come with between 20 and 60 years of experience, however you want to figure
Yes,
out.
we do.
But in case you decide not to go back to work, would you ever consider going on a surprise vacation?
Oh, what do you mean by, like, your husband would just say, "Honey, we're going," and he would have planned it, or what do you mean?
It probably could be that. What I was specifically talking about is there are actual travel agencies that plan this. You will type in some parameters,
Okay.
like when you want to go, what countries you would or would not go to, things like that. And then they will just plan a whole trip, an itinerary. You'll know the dates that you're going, but you won't know anything else until the night before. You'll get a packet with your flight info if you're flying. And that's how you know where you're going. Sometimes that you don't find out till you're actually at the airport.
Oh my
And
goodness.
then it's a total surprise. So you would say, I'll go anywhere. I'd probably pick anywhere in the United States now just because of.
Right.
Just because of
our world. But
yeah.
So anywhere in the, oh my God.
Right. And then you would show up and you'd find out, oh, you're going to Arizona. And they might book you in for like the Grand Canyon, and they've already scheduled helicopter rides and rides down the rapids. And it's just a total surprise. Everything would be a surprise. You wouldn't know at all what you were doing. What do you think?
I'm startled, but I feel like I might like this. Although half my fun of a vacation is planning it. Would I miss that part of it? I don't know.
I think I would. Yes.
Because I like figuring out where I'm going to go to dinner and where I'm going to go this and what outfit to wear, this, that. But it would be easy. What would you pack? I don't know.
Right.
Maybe they let you know. Fascinating. We need more research
on this. But I agree. When I first heard about it, I thought, well, maybe to try once, but maybe we should try it. Yeah. Anyhow, think about that.
If we do, we'll let you know. We'll take you with us.
Yeah, great. Good. Good. So do you have anything more to share from your week? Or are we going to get a tad serious now? Or
we could get a tad serious, yes. Luckily, I exchanged my peanut butter. You know, that peanut butter scare.
No, I want to hear more about it, though. Yes. Tell me.
This is not critical to the world, but just the other day, you ever feel thankful for something? I was faced with the dilemma of I was hungry, needed a snack. There were pretzels before me, and I wanted peanut butter on my pretzels. I had a jar that was nearly empty. I looked at it. I had a beautiful brand new jar that had not been opened. You know that thrill of the spoon in the unopened jar.
Yes,
I wanted that brand new jar, but something told me, scrape out what you can, and then that's all the peanut butter you're going to eat, because otherwise you'll eat like 1,000 calories. Okay, so I scraped, and that was that. The very next day, my OH says, hey, there's a peanut butter recall. And never are my items in the recall, but my peanut butter was.
Oh my gosh.
So I took it back. I didn't want that botulism junk. So I took it back. They refunded me, and there's a thankful story. There you go.
That is a thankful story. Actually, Beth Ann, I remember now, just as you were talking, she posted that she had to get rid of a new jar.
There you go. I think it was widespread. So Thankful
Yeah,
I scraped
because
my old and didn't dig into my new.
how very thankful, because how often do you really open a new jar? Not that often.
I know.
And then, wow, it happened now. But thank goodness you're fine.
Yes, living on the edge of danger and illness, but so far so good.
Yeah, day by day we do it. Well, I was going to start off a little something by saying we're kind of switching gears here now. You, for my birthday, was it my birthday or Mother's Day? Mother's Day, you gave me a creative card deck.
Yes.
Which I love. It's got a card for each week of the year, 52 weeks.
Okay.
And the first one I read said, how old are you? Whatever the number, write down that many things you love about yourself.
This would take me a while.
Right. So that's what I thought. We may want to just schedule an entire episode where you could help me make my love list of 60 plus things that I love about myself.
Yeah, well, this might take an hour. So, yeah, you get to be our age. This is a longer project. Right. Interesting.
But it came at a good time for me to read that, because I just have felt lately like I haven't been that nice lately. I feel like I've been kind of going for the critical comment, the kind of snarky.
Really? You think?
Huh. I think so. I've been trying to turn it around. So I tried to catch myself, but I've been feeling like that. Well, we decided this is leading into mental health awareness, because we've decided, even though I'm not really equipped to talk about this, we're going to share some thoughts.
Yes, we are, because I've been realizing and talking with people and reading a lot that, it is a very serious issue right now, especially with younger people 16 to 24, as well as that's the most impacted group, as well as like 25 to 40ish, early 40s. And the numbers, Jean, are just alarmingly high of the increases of people who feel that they have some type of mental illness. It's pretty much 1 out of 5 people, about 21%. And I feel like that's a very alarmingly high number. So it just makes me concerned as to why. And I did a little more reading, because it's just, I think, a very serious topic that needs to be addressed. In the 70s, back to our 50 years ago, when people talked about mental illness, it was considered just taboo. We didn't really discuss it. Our parents never talked about it. Just nobody talked about it. So the good thing is, at least today, I think it's seen as less taboo. But likewise, even though there's more awareness, there's also a higher number of people experiencing it.
So yes, that's why we want to. I do want to think about it. That makes me sad and concerned, and I want to know if there's a way I could help.
Well, one of the things, and we all know this, but I hadn't thought about one of the things. We all know that the pandemic greatly increased mental illness, because people just couldn't be together. And they said, although social media helped especially younger people connect, there's nothing that replaces real live interaction. And then, as we all know, we've discussed it before, everybody was on social media more since the pandemic. But then that brings about so many falsehoods in people's lives. They said everybody is looking at a curated world. They said that young people, young gals especially, will take hundreds of photos of themselves before they post what they think is the perfect photo.
Oh my.
And that just seems so sad to me. Then another one that is actually a more fixable, they feel that a lot of mental illness is stemming from young people aren't getting enough sleep. It's as simple as that. They feel like they're very much sleep deprived because they're up all night on social media, looking at people's curated worlds, all of that is in your brain. It's more difficult to shut down and sleep. So now everybody is living life with not enough rest. And that if people got more rest, they would mentally feel better, which is simple but hard to fix.
I'm just trying to soak this all in. Thank you, Laura.
Yeah.
What I did was I talked to my older millennial son because he's a good person to talk to.
Yes.
So first I described to him, I said, this is what, when I was a teenager, this was what life was like with me. If I wouldn't have even done this, Laura. But say I went to our folks and said, I'm feeling really anxious and upset and worried about school and my life.
Yeah.
They would have said, well, then you need to fix it. It's important to do well in school. You got to do your best. It's up to you to fix it. And if you don't know what to do, then you could just stay home and we'll fix it for you. Or it was all kind of punishment based.
Interesting. And I never really thought about it being punishment based, but I think you're right.
They said, right, if you have to fix it yourself, you're just not going to do that. You're just not going to be like that. You're going to do well in school. That's what we expect. So figure it out. Right. Now, I suppose the one thing about that is I did learn to figure things out for myself.
Right, whether you wanted to or not. It's almost like we weren't even allowed to think we were anxious or worried or stressed. Yes, you just had to plow through, and that was it. Right. Now, did that help us or hurt us?
Well, I suppose there's both. So then I said I asked my older millennial son about that. He said, well, that sounds like about right for the 60s and 70s because that's our teenage years.
Right.
And he said, what's changed, and this is what you were saying, he would say the same thing as you, that we're trying not to suppress our feelings anymore. So I said to him, okay, let's do the same thing. Say your child came to you, your teenager, and said, I'm so sad, I'm so anxious, I'm so stressed about school, I can't do it, I'm so stressed. What would you say? Would you just say, oh, well, you better find a way to fix it, or you're going to have even more trouble? Or what would you say? And he said, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what's troubling you, and let's see if we can help you. Which I thought, oh, that sounds so nice.
It's a very good, mature response, and I'm glad people are talking about it more. I'm just not sure we're to the point where it's helping.
Actually helping, right? Then I asked him see what you think of this. I asked him too, as we talked about that a little. I said, well, do you think like your faith in Christianity would help you? Do you feel better knowing that like God has created you specifically? He loves you. He's made you just the way he wants you to be.
Right.
So you are beloved by God. He loves you exactly the way you are, and he's there to help you. Now he's here to help you every day, and we also have the promise of eternal life. So I said, does this give you any comfort? Basically, it was like, no, nothing he would even consider.
Really?
Yeah, and that didn't mean a thing. None of that meant a thing. Which I think that's the key to it. I mean, God does love you.
You're exactly right. I so often through my life, my faith, my belief that God is with me every step of the way, holding my hand, loving me just the way I am, has carried me through life. But that makes me sad to think he maybe doesn't feel that same comfort.
Right. I'm not sure that church is a comfort to people like it used to be. I also read that, so we've talked about the millennial response, what boomers were raised with. I also have read that Gen X, which that's what, people who are 40 and 50 years old?
Yes.
Gen X moms are lonely.
Huh.
I guess they're too busy to really get together with friends. When you're, I think they were saying when you're younger and maybe your kids are getting together to play a lot, then you're kind of hanging out with moms and you get to know moms. But once your kids go off to college, it's just you and you're busy. So they don't have the opportunity to get along to get with their friends. They go on to errand dates.
Errand dates.
They go on errand dates. Like they'll meet someone at the grocery store. That's the only time they really have to socialize.
Oh my gosh. That just seems incredulous.
But I'd be happy to go with someone on an errand date. Really, that'd be fun. I would like to go to the grocery store with anybody.
It would be fun. So we'll put that out there. Just fascinating. And I feel like this is such a huge, deep subject. We may continue this, or if we have more thoughts, or if you folks have thoughts that you want to add. I mean, it's a very serious topic right now. So we've touched it briefly, but yes, there's much to be said about that.
But just if people just, I want our friends and people we know to realize, like, we do love you. God loves you, but we actually really love you too.
We do. We really do. And interestingly, and I'll have to decide why, and very complex, when I was reading all these statistics, boomers ages 55 and over, so some young, early boomers, but boomers out of all the age group have the least anxiety and the least stress and the least mental illness.
And I know we're almost done, but is it because you think we finally matured and gotten through like a lot of it is hard being a young parent and it is hard getting your job going. Is it partly that? Or is it partly all those years of we had to figure stuff out ourselves? Or
I don't really know.
Sent to the woodshed. Well, I want to say I love you. I really do love you, Laura. And I love our kids and grandkids and nieces and nephews. And let's have a good week, and we'll be chatting again in the next 2 weeks. And people can find us at okboomerpod.com.
And this is very last minute. I forgot to mention, I'll talk more about it. We just started on YouTube. A wonderful young man who was so kind and said he would help us out set us up on YouTube. So you can find OK Boomer Podcast on YouTube. You don't see us. You just
we weren't ready for that.
Well, we're not quite ready for that, but there you go. Well, I love you. We love all of you. Feel good about yourself. God loves you. And until the next time,
toodle.
Great toodaloo. Bye.
Be sure to come back to beautiful Ohio and the OK Boomer podcast. To listen to previous episodes or to drop us a line, visit okboomerpod.com.